So, I did the video where I recommended you guys check out Alyx's video where he was talking about the, top 10, WWE Superstars currently that he sees will make the jump in 2022, if not maybe a little sooner, to AEW. And I looked at this list, and there are some good choices. There are some good names, very possible, if realistic names that could make that jump to be all elite. But when I look at tonight, what's going on with War Games right now, and the situation with Kyle O'Reilly, his name is brought up. The fact that he flashed the Undisputed Era sign, and he was getting thank you chants from the crowd. A lot of people assume that this week, if not within the next week or so, he will be done. He will be all elite, probably before the year is out. And I'm not denying he won't be, because you look on the other side of the tracks, and they are hinting at an Undisputed Era versus Elite feud in AEW. But that's still up in the air, because we don't know if Kyle is leaving right away. He might have a little mini program with Von Wagner to help put Von Wagner over, and if that happens, then so be it. But it's still up in the air. Johnny Gagano is another questionable one, because this Friday his extension officially with WWE on his current contract ends, which means 6 days later he could show up at Winter is Coming, which I wouldn't be against either. I could see that happening. But are they likely to happen? It's still up in the air. If there are reports and rumors and speculation that Candice LeRae, when she comes back from her maternity leave, ends up having time tacked on to her current contract for the time she's missing, then that might be what keeps Johnny in WWE, at least for a shorter period, or an extended period anyway. But again, it's all mere speculation that is backed up by the fact that Tommaso Champa has currently had his contract extended because of the time he missed with injury, and he's not scheduled to really leave until maybe about summer, early fall of next year. But the question is, will they? A lot of people like Alyx assume it's going to happen, but will it? Again, like I said, that's something that's still up in the air. But the list that he did put down is a very intriguing one, if you will. It's very intriguing. He basically, it's a top 10 list basically that he did live, and the first name that he pointed out was Ric Flair. Now, he could see Rick coming in as a managerial character for someone like, let's say, a Jay Lethal, someone like maybe FTR, someone to be, maybe perhaps still a manager for Andrade, that they could find someone to slot him in with as a mentor. But will they? Will they do that? It's the question. And with the reputation he has right now, thanks to the plane ride from hell episode of Dark Side of the Ring, and then the way he was I'm recording it. Yeah. Sorry about that. All right. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'm recording a special 2020 edition on West Side Story. So, you know, my mom loves that movie and that play. So, you know, go figure. But what was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about this. You know, like I said, you know, because of, you know, the reputation he's gotten because of the way he was depicted in the Plane Ride from Hell, Dark Side of the Ring episode, as well as the Canyon one. I don't know. I don't know if Tony Khan will want to risk that. I mean, you know, people are very questionable about him signing Jay Lethal, you know, and the reputation, the cancel culture, and some people have accused him of having behind the scenes and all that, especially with the female talent in Ring of Honor. You know, people question, you know, why would he bring him on board, you know, with, you know, the issues that he's being accused of, and yet here he is. So, you know, here's the thing with Rick. You know, Rick's situation. Sorry about that. She loves to talk. Sorry about that. She loves to talk a lot. I think I know where my second older sister gets it from. But anyway, like I said, you know, Rick's situation, you know, it's similar, but a lot more like, yeah, you had, you know, when they talked to the stewardess, it's like, yeah, it's a lot more believable, even though the stewardess herself has a reputation after that incident as well. So, you know, a record, if you will, criminal record, if you will. But yeah, you know, I don't know about Rick. I mean, Rick's, he would be a great name, like I said, to get as a mentor. He'd be, like I said, a great name to get as a mentor, as a manager. You know, I could see him, if they wanted to, pairing him up with the, you know, with the Pinnacle. You know, you have FTR paired off with, you know, with Tully as their mentor, their manager. I could see Rick being maybe the same for MJF. You know, because they kind of have that similar style, but. Again, I think it's just very. I think it's just a very risky move to do right now. I mean, Jay Lethal, you can kind of get away with because there's no real evidence just yet. You know, that what he's being accused of, you know, has any truth to it. But yet with Rick here, you have a lot of evidence. You know, you have people that they've actually spoken to, that, you know, have said he did this. So. Yeah, I don't know. Rick's a questionable one. You know, Alyx believes that, you know, there's a chance he could come in later next year, but I think it might be one that Tony Khan will kind of, you know, he'll probably wait for the time for things to cool off. But yeah, I think if he signs him, yeah, I think that's gonna, you know, give AEW a bad rep, and it would basically show Tony Khan as being someone that, you know, it's just a wrestling fan who has money to own his own wrestling company, and he's going to sign whoever he wants because he wants to be the only wrestling fan in history to have all his favorite wrestlers, past and present, under one roof and say, "Yay, I'm having all the matches and people I want." Da, 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 da. You know, you know, I don't think Tony wants that kind of reputation. So. Yeah, just checking. That's why I have the security camera on right now. But anyway, like I said, yeah, I don't think Tony, if he's smart enough, if he's a true businessman, I don't think he wants, you know, that kind of reputation. I don't think he wants that reputation, but especially a controversial and bad one, you know, for him, for himself and his company. So even though Alyx kind of feels that it might happen, I don't think it's going to. I think Rick, he's probably done. I think honestly, until things truly clear up, until we get a true answer as to whether or not what the stewardess is saying is true or a lie, and what Rick is saying is true or a lie, you know, I think it's best if Rick just stays away from, you know, professional wrestling right now. I really do. I mean, I know he showed up at the NWA 73 and all that, and that's fine, but that was after that was after he was let go by WWE. We did not know about the plane ride from hell thing, you know, and how, you know how far it went with him. So, if I'm Rick right now, with all due respect, he's a legend and all that, I think I'd just kind of keep it low, and you know, not associate myself with wrestling until things are cleared up. That's what I would do. So even though Rick is a good possibility, I don't see it happening. I really don't. The only way I think it could happen is if Charlotte finds a way out of her contract, goes to AEW and all that, then I could see Rick probably showing up, because Charlotte will probably say, I'll only come if you bring in my dad. So I could see that, but I could see that being the only way. But Rick, I don't think he'll be AEW bound, unfortunately. Paige Knight, Saray Knight. I don't know. I mean, just because her contract is up very soon, apparently, according to Alyx and numerous sources, it doesn't mean she'll be AEW bound. You know, her doctors overall may say, yeah, we know you want to go back into wrestling, and you might be considering, you know, promotions like Rev Pro and all them in the UK, or AEW or Impact here in the States, but it's not possible. It's not possible, because you could re-injure yourself. I mean, if Paige's doctors know about, let's say, some of the things that have happened in AEW that thankfully have been safely corrected, you know, to make sure they don't happen again. You know, I could see them advising her not to do it. I could see it. And if anything, I could see Paige being brought in again as a mentor or as a manager. That's it. Heck, I could see her being brought in as a commentator for women's matches. You know, I could see that. And if that's the only thing that, you know, she can go and be all elite for, then so be it. It's better than nothing. But honestly, I think because of what's happened to her, that I believe that if she gets to be all elite, she's not going to be able to compete. Doctors won't clear her. They won't. They will not clear her. I mean, yeah, she has an injury similar to Daniel Bryan, similar to Edge, and everything. But unfortunately, and I hate to say this, and I say this with all due respect, no offense, but doctors, both male and female, they see the difference between the anatomy of the male and female bodies, and when they look at the female bodies, and again, I say this with all due respect, no offense, they see them being a lot more fragile than the men's. Despite the fact that a female can build herself up and be strong, you know, strong looking and powerful looking, and have a look to her entirely, if you will, when it comes to any combat sport, you know, they still consider them to be fragile. You know, that their body type is a lot easier to break than the males. And again, I say that with all due respect, no offense. So I could see her doctor being like, yeah, I understand you want to get back in the ring, but I can't allow it. You know, even if, like I said, she gets to be let go and, you know, try to go all elite, her doctors won't let her. They will not let her do it, because they don't want to risk her getting injured in any shape or form. You know, again, and they'll look, and again, like I said, they'll probably look about what's happened in the AEW short history and be like, look, you want to go and have these kind of matches? Have you not seen what's happened to these guys and these gals and all that? You know? So Paige, yeah, I could see her going all elite, but I just don't see her, unfortunately, competing in the ring. I can see her being brought in as a commentator for the women's matches. I can see her being brought in, you know, as a valet, a manager for somebody. But that's it. I don't see anything else. I mean, would it be nice if she was cleared to compete? Absolutely. Absolutely. And she would be a great asset to not only AEW's women's division, but WWE's or Impact's. Anybody's. But I just don't see it happening. I really don't. So, yeah, I could see her going all elite, but I just don't see her being able to be physically cleared to compete. I really don't. Samoa Joe. Yeah, I could see Samoa Joe going all elite in 2022, but we don't know how long his contract's for with WWE. That's the thing. Yeah, they might release him as, as a budget cut in the future, but I just don't see him leaving. And even if they do release him and give him the opportunity to go elite, I don't see it happening. I don't see him going all elite because of the fact that, once again, just like with Paige, he's injury prone. And I don't see, Tony Khan bringing him in to compete if, let's say, doctors, especially if WWE pays off the doctors, say, hey, we can't clear you because, you can probably injure yourself in your first match there. So, I just don't see it. I just don't see Joe going to AEW or anything. I see Joe probably, if he does get to compete again, it's going to be for WWE, and I think he's going to wrap up his career there. And that's a fact. Would I like to see him go to AEW and have some great matches with other as men and other male competitors there? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Him and Danielson, give me that, give Alyx that, give OTRS Central that, give Solomon to that. Joe Danielson, give us that all day. No issue there. Yeah, if you want, when it comes to wanting certain matches we want to see. Same with Punk and Joe renewing the rivalry. But again, it's all about the medical issues. And if WWE pays off doctors behind the scenes to say, make sure this guy doesn't get cleared, no matter what happens, even if they let him go, he won't be able to compete. Period. He won't. So, so to me, even though Joe would be a great addition to that AEW roster, I just don't see it happening. I don't. And I think Joe is probably going to, like I say, stay with WWE and probably end his career there. Now, if he was to be let go, and if he was cleared, outside of WWE to go anywhere to wrestle, I think more than likely he could be Impact bound. Yeah, I can see him going to Impact. Because that's where he really got himself put on the map besides Ring of Honor. I can see him going to Impact. Can really help out there. But right now, it's a medical situation. And if doctors, are telling him, WWE doctors, his own doctors are saying, hey, you can't do this, anymore or for much longer, then I don't think he's going to be AEW bound. And again, if he is, I see him being brought in as a coach, maybe a producer, and that's it. I don't see him doing anything else. I really don't. I mean, would I like him to? Oh, absolutely. Like I said, him and Danielson, him and Punk, him and Omega, that's those matches are no-brainers. But I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Not in the way that I think guys like Alyx and Solomon and JD would like to see it. I think realistically he's probably going to end his career in WWE. I really do. Because here's the thing. You think Joe is going to turn his back on the WWE and on the guy that helped bring him and bring him back to the company? You think he's going to do that? No. If anything, Joe might be someone that has has a reputation of giving back to those that gave to him. Like having a huge amount of debt or having somebody or being in somebody's debt for what they've done. So I could see Joe having that kind of a reputation to where, hey, I owe you, I'm in your debt. And that might just be what keeps him. So I see Joe probably staying there. Tommaso Champa, even though I think he'd be a good fit with AEW, again, He's currently the NXT champion. We don't know if he's going to lose it to Breaker soon or not. But Ciampa, I think, if here's the thing. If his contract is extended up until the late summer, early fall of next year because of injury, then yeah, I could see him. If they finally do release him, I could see him. Or once his contract expires, I could see him competing in AEW probably by Full Gear 2022. That would be his pay-per-view debut. Not just, probably for the company and maybe match-wise too. I could see him showing up, honestly. They have these quarterly specials now on TNT. I can see him showing up on the fourth quarterly special, the last quarterly special of the year, for AEW before Full Gear. I could see that. But I don't know. Because here's the thing. I think the reason WWE tacks on these additional times for these men and women that are out with injuries or maternity leaves or whatever isn't because they want them to make up for that time. It isn't because potentially they see value in them to keep them around. But what they probably are doing in actuality is keeping them around so they can try to re-sign them, convince them to stay with the company and not go anywhere else. So it'll be interesting when you get to late summer, early fall for Tommaso Ciampa. Will he be all elite by the fourth quarterly special, or will he stay in WWE? We'll have to see. I mean, I know people would love to see him compete against Omega, Danielson, Punk, Lethal. I know people would love to see these matches, but again, his thing is what you're speculating, is what you're assuming, is what you want to see. But will it happen? And with Ciampa, it's up in the air. John Morrison and Tyler Valkyrie, yeah, I can see them being a lock. Taya, I can see by winter is coming. I think because she's already up for 30 days or about up. So I can see her showing up at winter is coming. But you know what? I could actually see her showing up on the first edition of Dynamite on TBS. You know why? Because she's making a return to Triple Mania to challenge Deonna Purrazzo for the Reina de Reyes Championship. So I could see her showing up in time for the first Dynamite on TBS, if not Battle of the Belts. So yeah, Taya's on her way. Taya's on her way. There's no doubt. John Morrison, Johnny Elite, as I think he'll go by, or John Hennigan. Yeah, like I said, I could see him. But you gotta remember, unlike Taya, his non-compete clause is 90 days. And it goes into the middle of February. So you can't tell me they're not looking at him and thinking, should we continue to let him possibly get ready to go and be all elite? Go back to being Mr. Impact? What can we do? Oh, I know. We'll call him up, kiss up, say sweet words, bring him back, in time for the Rumble. It gives them time, guys. It gives them time to bring him back for the Rumble. So, him right now, yeah, I definitely could see all elite. But I'm not going to put it past WWE to try to sweet talk him back into the company for the Rumble for maybe a confrontation with The Miz. I would not be surprised. Johnny Gagano, well, as we speak, that's going to be the telltale sign. We know that Tommaso Ciampa put up something on his Twitter, on his Instagram, saying, hey, if this is my last time sharing a ring with you, then thank you. And he's got all these pictures and everything of him and Johnny at DIY. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting because you see, they have time. And Johnny might be the kind of guy that waits, maybe takes a break, if you will, spends time with his family, then shows up in AEW to begin 2022. I could see that being something he'll do. Just give himself time to breathe, heal up his body. I could see that. I could see him re-signing. maybe for another couple of months until his wife's contract is over. I could see that. Johnny's kind of still up in the air because they have from now till basically this Friday to see whether or not he'll remain. If he gets written off television this Tuesday night or even tonight, then yeah, that's pretty much a confirmation that that man or woman is going to be gone. But if not, and then let's say, they decide, okay, we're going to put Gagano against Champa for the NXT title in the future, then to me that would show that he signed some kind of new contract. Maybe not multi-year, but something that will keep him around until at least Candice is done. So Johnny, yeah, I definitely see him being All Elite, but I don't see it happening right away. And if it does, yeah, the closest I think it's going to happen is Winter is Coming. But I don't see it happening right away, though. I see him taking a break, waiting until the first TBS edition of Dynamite, or waiting for Battle of the Belts to become All Elite. And if not, hey, like I said, WWE's got a whole week ahead of them. They're going to have to present some kind of offer to Johnny that he cannot refuse. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. And for all we know, they could be saying, for all we know, you're giving them a little credit. Maybe the Ciampa thanking Gagano thing on Instagram, maybe that's part of a storyline that they are going to build on. We don't know. But again, that's giving them a little too much credit, isn't it? So Johnny, yeah, I could see it. I could see Winter is Coming as his debut. I could see Battle of the Belts being his debut. I can see it. But we'll have to see. Like I said, he might take a break. He might stay. WWE's got a week. They got a week. Let's see what happens. Sami Zayn, aka El Generico. I love how JD puts in his thumbnail for his SmackDown review on Friday that Brock Lesnar just kicked Sami Zayn into AEW. I just love that because he's assuming he's AEW bound, and he might be, but I don't know right now. I mean, we don't know what the status of Sammy's contract is. That's the thing. I think it runs until next year, early next year, and if that's the case, because him and Steen, Owens that is, didn't they sign almost simultaneously around the same time frame? Like Ciampa and Gagano? I mean, Sami a little before, Kevin. So, maybe it's the same time frame of being released, I don't know. Of having the contracts expired, I don't know. But Sami, yeah, I could see him being All Elite in 2022 if he ends up leaving. If his contract expires and he decides to go All Elite, I could see it. And I could see him being someone like, Shane Helms. Someone that, shows up as just Sami Zayn. That's it. Or Sami Generico, if you will. And then when it comes time to wrestle, he puts on the mask, he becomes El Generico. I could see it. I could see that. But again, it's another one that's up in the air because now all of a sudden he's getting this exposure. He's been put into a main event status with Brock and Roman, and you're like, why are they doing this? And to me, I think it's a way of trying to keep him around because he seems to have been one of the few that's embraced, hey, if you're going to stay here, you're going to be noticeable. If you're going to get opportunities, you need to embrace the sports entertainment lifestyle. And, he might be staying. We don't know. But again, if nothing does happen and he does end up leaving, his contract does expire, yeah, I could see him going to AEW. And again, I could see him doing that split personality thing where he's like Sami Generico and then El Generico. I could see that. Keith Lee and Mia Yim, again, just like John Morrison in that situation, to where they could go All Elite more than likely, but they're also in that situation to where WWE can call them up, sweet talk them, say we're sorry for saying this, and kiss up to them. And I could see them doing that just to make sure they show up at the Rumble matches. I can. And then that way they can try to talk them into new contracts. But to me, if I'm going to be honest, Lee is somebody along with Yim that I don't think is going to fall for something like that. I mean, they'll probably say yes to the Rumble appearances, but then they'll probably be like, yeah, thank you for the payout for the Rumble appearances, but we're now going to go and be all elite. And they could do that. I mean, look at Christian. Christian's last WWE match last year was in the Rumble match. And what happened a month later? At Revolution, he was all elite. So it could happen here again, too. So, Keith Lee and Mia Yim, yeah, I do see probably being all elite. And, probably a lot sooner than later. But I also see him doing, playing it smart by saying, okay, WWE, we'll be in the Rumble matches, no problem. Come in, have a decent showing, probably get eliminated, get the payouts, and be like, oh, by the way, we don't want your offer. We're going to be all elite. And they could do that too. So, I wouldn't put it past them to go all elite after doing one more payout job for WWE to be part of the Rumble matches. Because if Lee and Yim are smart enough, they'll probably realize that they're just trying to kiss up to them to keep them around. So, we'll see. But yeah, I can see them more than likely going there. Bray Wyatt, a.k.a. Wyndham Rotundo. Yeah, I could see him being all elite. But right now, it looks like he's more focused on being Hollywood, being more of a Hollywood horror mogul, if you will. And, I think, since he's filming a movie right now, with the people that helped out with the Fiend stuff and everything, I think it might be a while before we see him in AEW. I think the earliest we would see him next year could be Double or Nothing. That's the earliest. Revolution would be great. Winter is Coming would be great. The Battle of the Belts would be great. But I see him showing up at either Double or Nothing or the second quarterly special they have next year in the spring, in the mid to late spring, because of what he's doing right now and maybe what he's going to be offered to do later on. So, yeah, I do see him being all elite. Bringing a character similar to what he did with the Fiend or with the Eater of Worlds into AEW. But I don't expect us to see him until either Double or Nothing or that second quarterly special in mid to late spring. And Kevin Owens, aka Kevin Steen, was Alyx's number one choice. And I could definitely see him going to AEW. But again, his contract doesn't end until the end of January, mainly beginning of February. Probably around the same time Sami's does, maybe a little afterwards. But I don't know. I mean, all signs do point to him showing up there for a Mount Rushmore kind of like, to be part of a Mount Rushmore kind of like stable with Cole and the Bucks, or Cole and Fish and potentially O'Reilly. I could see that. But honestly, I don't know. I mean, now they're suddenly deciding to put him into a main event situation on Raw. And a lot of people are reporting Owens to only, eat the pinfall so that Big E and Seth can, remain strong and continue to feud into the Rumble. And that's probably true, but I don't know. Knowing WWE, knowing that, hey, this guy is potentially going to go all elite, and I don't want that and anything. If I'm WWE, if I'm Vince, I'm Bruce, I'm like, what can I do to try to butter this guy up to he can reconsider staying? Oh, I know, I'll make him champion. And that could happen. But, Steen, yeah, I'm not going to be against him going all elite, and I'm not going to be surprised if we see him debut, like I said before, when the lights go out during the main event of Revolution and they come back on. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in the middle of the ring, attacking somebody like Adam Page or, MJF or whoever he goes after. I wouldn't be surprised. But we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. But yeah, I'm not going to put it past, like I said, I'm not going to put it past that happening, that the lights go out in the main event of Revolution, lights come back on, there's Steen, he attacks Page, then he allows either MJF, he allows, Cole or whoever to pin him and become champion. Or the lights go out after the match is over, come back on, he attacks Page, and thus you set up a feud between him and Page for the world title. It could be one way to bring him in, but again, we have between now and the end of January to see exactly what's going to happen. But yeah, again, I'm not going to go against him going to All Elite Wrestling if he decides, I'm done here. I've done everything I can. I'm not going to be surprised if he decides to do that. Honestly though, with all these 10 picks, there are some, if not, I do see making that jump, but I don't see them making it like right away when people want them to. And some I don't see making that jump because of medical reasons, or potentially, WWE could try to, talk them into staying. And let's be honest. And I say this with all due respect to Alyx. When someone like Alyx does they do a video like this, a top 10 list like this of what they see happening, or who they see making the jump, or this or that, it's mainly their opinion. They could be wrong about who they're predicting, making the jump to AEW and all that. They could be totally wrong, from all 10 of them. They could be totally wrong. But again, it's just their opinion. It's just their opinion. I mean, it's like if Alyx said, this is the match I want to see, I wants it, I needs it kind of deal. That's his opinion. If he says, if he says, he wants it, he needs it, that's his opinion. That's his opinion. Just like it's JD's opinion, put on his thumbnail that Brock Lesnar, as a title, that Brock Lesnar kicked Sami Zayn into AEW. That's his opinion. That's his opinion. And you can't blame guys like Alyx for making a list like this. You can't blame guys like JD for making thumbnails like that, because WWE's frustrating them. And they're frustrating them mainly because of the inconsistency and the fact that if you have wrestling in your name, even if entertainment's the last word in your name, then maybe you should focus on the wrestling more so than just entertainment. That's what's frustrating them. And here's the thing too. When Alyx, and I'm sure he knows, if not has already seen some criticisms, when Alyx or anybody like him puts out any wrestling fan that is, puts out a video that says, these are the top 10 people I see that will jump, it's going to get him some criticism. And I think he knows that. because of the fact that those that, in their opinion, are trying to be unbiased on both sides of the spectrum, trying to equal it out, not let their favoritism for one over the other, misguide them. That, when they criticize something like this, it's mainly because they see someone being very AEW biased. Someone that's just won't come out and say, yeah, I'm an AEW fan, and this channel's only for AEW fans only. To them, when they see Alyx say something like this, it shows he's just showing more of his biasness towards All Elite Wrestling. And that's it. He's not being fair. Now, if he would change, I guarantee you, if he would have changed it to, these are the top 10 stars I see that, top 10, WWE Superstars I see that may jump. That may make the jump. Not will, but may. I guarantee you I guarantee you guys like him, JD, Solid Monster, they would get less criticism. Because the title would say, the title of the video would be maybe, like, this is who may jump, but things might change. Or this is the person that may go in 2022, but it might change. Not will. And again, like I said, you can't blame them, because they're frustrated with the creativity, the lack of creativity and everything in wrestling, and focus on wrestling that WWE's not doing. In their opinion. You know, all they want is WWE just to come out and say, we at World Wrestling Entertainment, we are committed to sports entertainment, but our number one priority now is just pro wrestling. That's all they want. That's all they want. And yeah, they'll get good wrestling here and there, but to them, you know, they're just having it. They're just having it up to here with the company. And you know, this is why I'm not angry. You know, actually, I support Alyx making these kind of videos because, you know, he's just having it up to here. He sees men and women that have the potential or have the potential to succeed in WWE, and WWE's not, you know, utilizing it or didn't utilize it, and they are squandering or have squandered it or did squander it. He's having it up to here, so I don't blame him. But again, I'm not going to be surprised, and I'm sure he's not surprised, if by now he already has critics being like, "Are you serious? Are you saying that you're foretelling the future? Are you trying to tell us that? You don't know what you're talking about." And again, all it is his opinion. Again, he could be wrong. He could be wrong, and you know, here's the thing: will he be excited that Johnny's going to stay with WWE if he decides to resign, maybe for at least 6 more months, 7 more months until his wife's contract ends? No, he won't be. I mean, he'll respect Johnny for wanting to do it, to, you know, be there for his wife so that they can both be released at the same time. But you know, I just don't. But his thing, he won't be totally happy. He'll like I say, he'll have respect, but you know, that happiness of, oh, he's going to be all elite, that's going to have to be put on the back burner for another 6-7 months if it happens. Same with Kyle. If Kyle decides, hey, I'm going to stay for another year or so, if he decides to do so, then yeah, I could see Kyle. Then I could see that excitement that Alyx and JD have of potentially a Red Dragon UE reunion in AEW. I can see that excitement, you know, dying down because, oh great, now we got to wait another year. But again, it's just his opinion. It's just his opinion. Yes, I admit, would he probably have less critics or anything if he would just put the word may in the title instead of will? Or if he just said, oh, this is going to happen, instead of just saying, oh yeah, this is definitely going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to. You know, would he have less criticism if he said, well, I think this may happen. I'm hoping it may happen because of this and that. You know, would it be easier if he worded things like that? Oh, absolutely. But again, Alyx and JD and Solomonster, they're not those, OTR Central, they're not those kind of people. You know, like me, you know, they're unscripted. You know, they're off the script, as JD would say. And they feel like telling it like it is, they will tell it like it is. And if they want to come out and say, yeah, bash me all you want, but I truly believe this will happen because it has to happen, and it must happen. Again, you can't blame them. You can't truly blame them. You know, because of what WWE has done. So, yeah. My opinion, though, I do agree with some of them. Some of them I don't because of certain reasons. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with Alyx's 10 names that he sees, 10, 12 names that he sees jumping to AEW in the coming year? Or do you think some of them will remain? Do you think some of them won't be able to make the jump as some fans like Alyx would want them to because of medical reasons? What are your thoughts? Comment below, live chat during the premiere, like the video. Check me out at my Teespring store. Also check me out at BW Roses on Patreon at the $1, $3 tier. Also check me out at BW Roses Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast locations, except for Pandora. Got 2 new podcasts up to date, so you can check them out. Also check me out at Venmo at Brian-Walmer.2 to help donate there if you'd like. And also, if you're on Anchor.fm, listener support is on there as well. You guys want to help support me there. So until next time, guys, I am out.